Hey, being in the good mood I'm in, I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in trouble, particularly with Ron DeSantis supporters. But I'm going to say it anyway. I think Nikki Haley is going to surpass Ron DeSantis. I think Governor Nikki Haley is the one to watch. She is surging. She's now ahead of DeSantis in New Hampshire. She's now tied for second with DeSantis in Iowa. I think Nikki Haley is carving out a lane that might just give her the path to second place. Now, I don't know that anybody's going to overtake President Trump. But then again, you never know what's going to happen with anything. You never know what's going to happen with anybody or anything. And Nikki Haley, the Daily Beast, Matt Lewis over the Daily Beast had an analysis. Here's why Nikki Haley is gaining in the polls and Ron DeSantis is not. She's now tied with DeSantis for second in Iowa, according to a new Des Moines Register NBC News Mediacom Iowa poll. More importantly, the trend lines show DeSantis down 3 points and Haley up 10 points since August. What's more, Haley has already surpassed DeSantis in New Hampshire. She's now in second place in the first in the nation primary. She is emerging as the alternative to Donald Trump, at least in part because she's more likable than DeSantis. Now, that's according to the Daily Beast. I don't know. Is she more likable than... Frankly, the emerging narrative is that anybody's more likable than Ron DeSantis. I don't think of Ron DeSantis as likable or unlikable. He's kind of a policy guy. He's smart. He's effective. He's accomplished. He's good. There's nothing wrong with Ron DeSantis, except he's not Donald Trump. But a lot of people are convinced that Ron DeSantis is still the alternative. I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know. But the Daily Beast's Matt Lewis writes that Nikki Haley has not made the mistake that Ron DeSantis made. He asserts that Ron DeSantis chose a lane that was already taken. Instead of assembling a coalition of Reagan conservatives who never liked Trump and former Trumpers who are ready to move on, Ron DeSantis chose to ignore or offend the former and focus on attracting current Trumpers who have no interest in quitting the Donald. She chose a lane that went after Trump pretty rigidly. She criticized Trump for adding $8 trillion to our debt. She called him the most disliked politician in America. And Matt Lewis's analysis is her strategy worked. As recently as this spring, Ron DeSantis looked like the best positioned Republican to take on Trump. Haley seemed as unlikely to catch fire as Mike Pence, who, as we know, dropped out of the race this past weekend. Today, he writes, Haley is the one to watch, while Ron DeSantis' star seems to be fading. Do you agree with that? Now, the team gave me a clip that went viral. Ron DeSantis went on a very popular podcast with a guy named Patrick Bet-David, this PBD podcast, and it's getting a lot of traction. It's a very popular podcast. I hear a lot of people say that they're engaging in this podcast that this guy does. And it's one of those teams, I don't know, it's called the PBD podcast. And the guy's name is Patrick Bet-David. And people took this clip and ran with it and said, this Patrick Bet-David has single-handedly ended Ron DeSantis' candidacy. Now, that's hyperbolic and that's exaggeration to be sure. But it is fair to, and I was wondering about this. I really debated this. Driving into work this morning, I thought, should I play this clip or not? I don't want to embarrass Ron DeSantis. I don't want to attack him. I'm not anti-DeSantis. I'm not anti-Republican. We desperately need to defeat the Democrats in 2024. I'm convinced the Democrat we're going to have to beat is Gavin Newsom. Incidentally, did you see Newsom over in China? What the heck's the California governor doing kissing up to Xi in China? Well, he wants to run for president. He thinks he's going to be the Democrat nominee, and I believe he very well could be. Now, I'm going to play this clip for you against my better judgment. Tracy's convincing me we should play it, just so people can hear what people are talking about on social media. DeSantis is terribly embarrassed, I'm sure, by this, and he is very rigid in controlling his media interviews. Trust me, I've got some personal experience in that field. Here's Governor DeSantis on this very popular podcast that has already been viewed now millions and millions of times. DeSantis wears cowboy boots a lot, and his critics make fun of his penchant for cowboy boots. And they suggest that the reason he's wearing boots is that he's got lifts in them because he's short. So this guy, this Patrick Bet-David, goes right at him on the issue of cowboy boots. Again, not a very comfortable place for Governor DeSantis to be. I thought I'd share it with you anyway.
I know you were on, what do you call it, on, what was it, Bill Maher, and Bill Maher talked about the boots. I've seen you walk with these boots. Go ahead and play this clip. This on TikTok went viral. It doesn't have 1 million views. It doesn't have, 10 million views. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And some people are wondering,
what are they? I don't even, I haven't seen that.
They've not shown this to you. Okay,
no.
What they're trying to say with this is that in your boots, you have heels.
No.
That's what they're trying to say.
Those are just standard off the rack Lucchese.
How tall are you, Governor? How tall?
5'11".
5'11". Okay. Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. I got a gift for you. I'd love for you to wear, okay, I shop at Ferragamo, okay, and
I don't accept gifts. I can't accept it.
I totally get it.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it was just a really awkward, cringy moment. Governor DeSantis has a look on his face like, how did I get myself in this position? And it probably didn't do him any favors to go on the PBD podcast, because that guy clearly just wanted to embarrass Ron DeSantis. And I just keep wondering about people like Trump. I don't know that Trump would ever put himself in that position. He'd go right back at the guy and attack him. That's not who DeSantis is. DeSantis is a very serious guy. And I suppose the narrative that has emerged is that Governor DeSantis isn't particularly likable. And if you believe this Daily Beast analysis by Matt Davis, Nikki Haley is. She is more likable. Now, a lot of text messages coming in already on the MyPillow text line, and I want to open up our phone lines. The PhD weight loss phone number is 800-655-MIKE. And I want you to give me your thoughts about Nikki Haley getting the momentum she's getting. Do you agree with me that she's the one to watch right now? Here's a text from Maryland. Mike, I hope you and your audience does a deep dive into this before anyone dares to support Nikki Haley. The last thing we need is another globalist in the White House. South Carolina, from the upstate. Mike, the problem with Ron DeSantis is his establishment Republican donors and their endorsement. And finally, from Florida, from Orlando, Nikki Haley wants to bring Palestinians here. She's a neocon supreme. She comes off as bitchy, too. Bitchy. Does she?